Hey guys, it's Nathan, and welcome to Hale. October has been a great month so far. This is another episode for my HALEoween special. In this video, I will be ranking every single movie that Tim Burton has directed. This will be excluding any movies that he partnered with other directors on. It will also be all full-length feature films. In other words, movies that are an hour or longer. There are 19 total movies to talk about, but before I talk about my own personal list and my subjective opinions, I want to talk about what your guys' choices were. If you weren't aware, about a week or two ago, I had you guys vote for your favorite Tim Burton movie on my Instagram account at cinema_Nate. There were about 4 rounds, I believe, and each round, obviously movies were eliminated and it came down to a fight between 2 Tim Burton films. I'm going to show Tim Burton's filmography ranked based on what you guys voted for. I looked at each round and I looked at what movies were eliminated for each round, and the movie that had the least amount of votes, or the lowest percentage of votes, that's the way I ranked it. So the lowest percentage of votes for that movie was towards the bottom of the list, and if it had a higher percentage of votes in the designated round, I moved that higher up on the list. And so based on your guys' votes, your ranking of Tim Burton's complete filmography goes: number 19, Alice in Wonderland; number 18, Planet of the Apes; number 17, Big Eyes; number 16, Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children; number 15, Ed Wood; number 14, Mars Attacks; number 13, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory; number 12, Dumbo; number 11, Batman Returns. And this is where there's going to be some head turns. Number 10, Dark Shadows. Yes, it beat Dumbo in round 1 and moved on to round 2, but in round 2, it was a big loss. It was the very first movie out on round 2. Number 9, Sweeney Todd. Number 8, Frankenweenie. Number 7, Big Fish. Number 6, Peewees Big Adventure. Number 5, Sleepy Hollow. Number 4, Corpse Bride. Number 3, Beetlejuice. And the 2 movies that went head-to-head in the final Instagram movie battle were Edward Scissorhands versus Batman. And the winner was Batman. And so according to your guys' votes, Batman is Tim Burton's best movie of his filmography. Thank you everyone who participated in this tournament. It was super fun to keep track of and see just what your guys' opinions are. I mean, I talk about my opinions all the time. It was cool to see the majority's opinions based on my Instagram followers. Anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and talk about my list now, and I'll be honest, there are some similarities to what you guys voted for, but a lot of differences at the same time. And so with that being said, let's start at number 19. Dark Shadows goes in number 19, and to be completely honest, there isn't really anything I even want to talk about with this movie. I just didn't like it at all. Number 18 goes to Alice in Wonderland. Why does everyone look so stupid in this movie? Tweedledee and Tweedledum look so fake. When this movie came out, I've always thought that Tweedledee and Tweedledum looked really stupid. And then the Queen, why is her head so big? And why is Anne Hathaway playing someone with white hair and like dark eyebrows? It just doesn't look good to me. And I absolutely hate the ending where the Mad Hatter, Johnny Depp, he does that little dance after defeating the dragon thing, and he like spins his head and he's doing this weird dance. It's just so cringy to watch. I just don't enjoy it. The Disney animated movie is way better. Number 17 goes to Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. I don't know if it was because of Dark Shadows, but I have a bad taste in my mouth for Eva Green, the actress, and I don't know if that made me dislike Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children a little bit more or what, but it just wasn't a fun movie. It was pretty dumb and it was very silly. I didn't connect with it. I didn't like it. Number 16 goes to Dumbo, which is Tim Burton's latest film. Honestly, the trailers for this movie were 5 out of 5 in my opinion. I got so emotional after seeing the trailer for this live-action adaptation of Dumbo. I was so excited to see pink elephants on parade, and I was really just excited to see my childhood be presented on the big screen. But I was very disappointed with this movie. There were just so many cliches. Dad has a bad relationship with the kids don't know how to communicate with dad. Gosh, I've never seen that before. I just wasn't invested in the story, like, at all. It never felt like it was an original film. And I know that sounds kind of dumb because it's a remake of another film. It was nearly 2 hours long, and the original film is just a little over an hour long. And I definitely felt that runtime. It felt very long. I don't know, I just didn't enjoy it. But I will say that the first scene that you see Dumbo fly in the circus gave me major chills in the theaters. It was a great scene, what can I say? Also, have you noticed that Tim Burton has now made a film based on big eyes, big ears? I mean, when are we gonna get Big Mouth? Number 15 for me goes to Planet of the Apes. The makeup in this movie is amazing. It's just really well done to me. I like that the apes are a little bit more menacing looking than the apes in the earlier films, the original films. And to be completely honest, I've always just liked the idea of the Planet of the Apes. I mean, the reboot trilogy that came out in the last few years is one of my favorite trilogies of all time, if not my favorite trilogy. So I love the whole concept of having a planet of apes. But in the end, this movie's just really dumb, and the characters are stupid. There's a lot of weird scenes. Performances aren't the best. It's a very cheesy movie as well. It's just, it doesn't work. Number 14 goes to Mars Attacks, which I honestly think is actually a really stupid movie, and it's very dated as well. The aliens look so fake in this film. I can't even take the movie seriously at all because of how stupid the aliens look. It does have a very star-studded cast, and that's part of the reason that it's ranked higher on the list, because it's fun to see so many great actors in the film, specifically Jack Nicholson and Rod Steiger. I really like seeing them in the movie, but it's just a super dumb movie. At one point you see Sarah Jessica Parker, her head attached to a chihuahua's body, and same vice versa, a chihuahua head attached to her body. It's a movie that I'm not sure if it's trying to be so bad it's good, or if it's trying to be good, or just a fun time. I can't really tell, but in the end, it's just a really dumb movie to me. Number 13 for me goes to Sweeney Todd. Every performance in the movie is great, and it's impressive that Tim Burton was able to make such a good musical. And so I was impressed by all of that, and it had that gothic feeling, that gothic Tim Burton-esque feeling that all his movies have, basically. But it was just too violent for my taste. I wasn't a big fan of the violence in this and just like the subject matter of this movie. So for that reason, I'm not sure if I'll ever rewatch it. And also for that reason, it ranks on the lower half of my list. Number 12 goes to Big Eyes with Amy Adams and Christoph Waltz. You know, it's just a nice, forgettable Tim Burton movie. Number 11 goes to Corpse Bride, which I absolutely love the animation in this movie. I really am a big fan of stop motion animation, and so to see it in a Tim Burton film is such a pleasure. I also love the character design of this film. There are so many zany and just obscure looking characters in this movie, and you could watch it and just know from the look of the characters that it's a Tim Burton film. It's also a fun and original story. It's a very short film too, but I enjoy Corpse Bride. It's a good one. We're now in the top 10. So starting at number 10, I have Sleepy Hollow, which was a first time watch for me this month. I really loved the gothic feel to this movie and sort of like the mystery to the movie. It's a pretty silly movie, to be completely honest, and it's a little dumb at parts, but Johnny Depp's performance is a fun one to watch, and it's also fun to see a lot of the actors from Harry Potter in this movie, actually. It's a fun, spooky movie that works really well, especially at this time of the year. Number 9, I have Batman, which is interesting because this was your guys' number 1 pick for your favorite Tim Burton film, and it ranks as number 9 for me, so don't hate me too much. To be completely honest, I think this movie is very dated. It's a movie that when I'm watching it, all I want to do is turn it off and watch the Christopher Nolan trilogy. I pretty much just bashed this movie to the ground, but the reason it ranks so high on my list is simply because of Jack Nicholson. I really, really like his performance as the Joker. Number 8, ironically enough, is Edward Scissorhands, which is funny because your guys' top 2 were Batman and Edward Scissorhands, and these are at the bottom of my top 10, but I still enjoy the movies. Batman, not so much. But anyways, Edward Scissorhands, to me, is still a little bit overrated. I'm not gonna lie. It feels a little over the top at times, and when I say over the top, I mean specifically Anthony Michael Hall's character. This is the boyfriend of Winona Ryder's character, and he just seems so extreme to me and so ridiculously over the top. I can't really buy it, and I kind of like takes me away from the story. There are still things that I really appreciate about this film, specifically the scene where Winona Ryder is dancing in the snow or the shaved ice, whatever you want to refer that to. And also, once again, Johnny Depp gives a great performance. This movie, like the biggest strength of this movie is just how original and unique it is. That's what I really like about this one. At number 7, I have Batman Returns. Something that I really like about this movie is the Christmas setting. I also love Danny DeVito's crazy performance. Michelle Pfeiffer is also insane in this movie. You also get to know Michael Keaton's Bruce Wayne more, and it's cool to see Batman in such a bind because the criminals in this movie are really putting him in a bad position in the eyes of Gotham. And so it's cool to just like see that happen. I think that the stakes are higher in this movie than the first movie, and it's also so ridiculous. Like, there are literally penguins with rockets on their backs. What? Number 6 goes to Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. What? That movie's that high on your list? Are you crazy? Think about this movie as an adaptation to the book, not a remake to the Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. I remember reading the book and thinking Charlie and the Chocolate Factory is way more accurate to the book than Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory is. There are so many differences. So for that, I really appreciate that. Like, down to the Oompa Loompa songs, those are in the books. And so, like, really impressive there. I'm not gonna lie, the movie's also very nostalgic for me, and that's a big reason I love this movie so much. And on top of that, Johnny Depp gives a hilarious performance as Willy Wonka. A lot of people hate it. I really like it. I think it's really funny. I think it's unique. I think it just works for this movie. I don't know. I really like it. I will say that there are some lines that are just really stupid, and some of the child performances are pretty bad. The kids are good for the most part. Freddie Highmore's definitely the standout as Charlie. But honestly, as I rewatched this movie in preparation for this video, I got chills in several scenes, and maybe that was because of like my childhood coming back to me, or it was because of the performances. Like I really liked Freddie Highmore's performance as Charlie Bucket, and I loved seeing him open the Wonka bar and get his golden ticket. Speaking of golden tickets and Wonka bars, I also love the montage of each of the 5 children receiving their golden ticket and the search for the golden ticket. Even as a kid, I've loved that scene. And so rewatching it, it just brought me down memory lane. Overall, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory gets way more hate than is needed. I think it is a really fun movie. Yes, it's obscure, but look at who's directing it. Look at your source material. I mean, you've got Johnny Depp in it with Tim Burton as the director. Of course, it's going to be a little obscure. Number 5 goes to Ed Wood, which was also a first-time watch for me this month. This movie's really fun. It's about the real-life director from Hollywood back in the olden days. He's famous for making the worst movies of all time. Plan 9 from Outer Space is definitely his best known film, and it was kind of cool because I actually watched that movie a few weeks before seeing Ed Wood. In Ed Wood, you see the process of filming Plan 9 from Outer Space, and so it was just really cool to see like backstory and get some information about how the film was, well, filmed. I keep saying it, but Johnny Depp gave another great performance in this movie. I think this actually might be my favorite performance of his Tim Burton filmography, either this or Willy Wonka, which is kind of ironic because his character of Ed Wood actually reminded me of Willy Wonka at times. It was the way he spoke, I think. Martin Landau won Best Supporting Actor for his performance as Bela Lugosi, and it was well deserved. I think that he gave an amazing performance in this film. I also just love movies about movies, and so this one was especially enjoyable. It was also cool that the movie was filmed in black and white, seeing as how Ed Wood lived and made movies during the black and white film era. I really enjoyed this movie. It was a fun first-time watch.
I would rather talk about
It's cute, Delia.
Number 3 goes to Frankenweenie. Tim Burton originally made Frankenweenie as a live-action short film. It's on Disney Plus if you want to watch it. I've always loved Frankenweenie because it's such a great stop-motion animation film. I remember going on a trip to Disneyland, California Adventures, actually in Anaheim, around the time of the release of Frankenweenie, and they had a scene from the movie Frankenweenie on display, and it really kind of opened my eyes to what stop-motion animation is like, because it was a scene in the classroom with all the students in the classroom, and you got to see all the characters, the claymation figures, all sitting at their desks. And it was exactly like you were watching the movie, but they were obviously not moving. It was just on display. But seeing that in person and just getting like a great appreciation in that moment for Tim Burton and all the filmmakers that participated in the filming of this movie, I think it definitely boosted Frankenweenie up on my favorite Tim Burton filmography ranked list. Plus, it's kind of a timeless tale, a boy and his dog, and it has a great twist on it. I also love the homage it pays to classic monster movies. There's so many Easter eggs in this movie that acknowledge older monster movies, and I love that. Number 2 goes to Big Fish. This is a movie that has been on my watch list for so long. Like I'm literally talking years, and I finally watched it this October, and I absolutely loved it. There are so many things to love about this movie. It's a very peculiar movie. I guess that's the Tim Burton coming out in it, but I think overall, the one thing I love about this movie so much is just the feel-good vibes that it brings. I love me a good feel-good movie. I mean, for crying out loud, my favorite movie of all time is It's a Wonderful Life. Of course, I like a feel-good film. And there were so many things to love about Big Fish. Particularly the performances. I really liked the performances from the 3 lead male actors in this film. Billy Crudup, Ewan McGregor, and the late Albert Finney. All of them gave amazing performances. Billy continues to impress me with his filmography. This is the second movie that I've seen him star in, and the first one was was almost famous, but I've been consistently impressed with the performances that he gives. Ewan McGregor made me laugh, and honestly, Albert Finney made me cry. Like, no joke, I definitely cried at the ending of this film. It's such a beautiful story told, and I'm just so glad that I finally took the time to watch this movie. Big Fish is a great film. But coming in at number 1 is Tim Burton's directorial debut. It is Peewees Big Adventure. I'm pretty sure Peewees Big Adventure was the first Tim Burton film I ever saw. It's always been my favorite Tim Burton film, ever since the day I realized it was a Tim Burton film, because for the longest time, I didn't even know that. Peewees Big Adventure is just such a ridiculous ride. It is such a goofy, funny, and stupid movie. The humor in it never gets old to me. I can rewatch this movie, and every time I can laugh super hard at specific scenes. It's a very quotable film. My senior year of high school, you know how people have like their senior quote in the yearbook and everything? My senior quote it was my picture, and below it said, "Large Marge sent me." I kid you not, that was my senior quote. That's how much I love Pee-wee's Big Adventure. I quoted the freaking movie in my senior quote. Just the most ridiculous things happen. It's such a simple plot. This character named Pee Wee Herman is a man-child. He lives in a ridiculous house with all fun and games. He's one of those people that, you know, slides down the fire pole, and his outfit changes as he goes down the fire pole. He has a breakfast machine that makes him breakfast every day. If you haven't seen this movie, I want to describe one scene to you. He's brushing his teeth. Actually, he's brushing his teeth with a ginormous toothbrush. And once he finishes brushing his teeth, he then finds a tape dispenser on his sink. Why the tape dispenser is in his bathroom in the first place, we'll never know. But what he does next with the tape dispenser is what I want to draw your attention to. He literally takes the tape dispenser, pulls the tape off, you know, stretches it out as far as he can, and then sticks his nose up, wraps the tape around his head, and then starts doing funny faces and funny noises in the mirror. Why? Because he's Pee Wee Herman. He can do whatever he wants. This movie is so ridiculous. I love it so much. For a directorial debut, Tim Burton, you impressed me. And that doesn't mean that Tim Burton's career has gone downhill since then, just because his first movie is my favorite. That's not what that means. It just means that he's made some good movies, he's made some bad movies. In fact, honestly, I would describe Tim Burton as a very hit and miss director for me, especially in recent years. He's thrown a lot of misses at me. I have not enjoyed his recent filmography, as you can tell from my list. To me, the last good movie he made was Frankenweenie. Everything after that was it's just not enjoyable. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, for checking out my complete filmography ranking of Tim Burton's movies. I appreciate the support, the comments, and all the things you guys do for me. And thank you for all the birthday wishes. I really appreciate it. I had a great day, and I'm excited to see what being 24 brings to me. And if you're wondering what to do with your lives, go watch a Tim Burton movie, specifically one that I ranked in the top 5. All right, see ya. Bye.